Have you ever heard of roads that cut through lifeless deserts? Places where there are no houses, no people, not even phone signal. Where the sand erases footprints in just minutes, as if the earth itself wipes away human presence. Local drivers whisper about someone they call the man of the desert. And those who met him never returned. It all began decades ago. Travelers driving along the old highway would simply vanish. Only their cars were found, left in the middle of the road, engines still running, doors wide open. No one inside. No signs of struggle, no bodies. As if the people had been erased from reality. They say he was once just an ordinary resident of a nearby town. But something in his mind broke. He walked into the desert, and never came back as a man. Now he appears in the darkest stretches of the highway, where no lights shine, where only wind and sand rule. Those who've seen him describe a tall figure, his face wrapped in cloth against the sand, with eyes that glowed in the dark. A few truckers tried to record him on their dash cams. On the footage you see, headlights cutting through the empty road. Then suddenly, a figure standing in the middle of the highway. The camera flickers, the image distorts, and then, the video cuts off. Later, only the truck is found, stalled in the desert. Search parties looking for the missing people found only footprints in the sand. But the tracks ended abruptly, as if the person simply vanished into thin air. Sometimes strange symbols were drawn in the sand. Circles, lines, shapes that look like marks from ancient tribes. Local shamans would whisper, "He made a pact with the desert." There was one survivor. He was found along the highway, burnt by the sun, dehydrated. He rambled incoherently, but managed to say, "I saw him. He stood right in front of me, whispering. He didn't scream, didn't rage. He just said, 'You'll remain here, like all the others.' I closed my eyes, and when I woke up, I was alone, buried in sand." After that, he never spoke again. Scientists who came to investigate reported strange electromagnetic readings. Their devices broke, their watches stopped ticking. Some said the desert wasn't just a place, but a doorway. And the man of the desert was its guardian. A guardian who stops the path of anyone who dares go too far. Even today, drivers post about eerie encounters online. Some describe him as a man in a long coat. Others swear he appeared inside their car, silently sitting in the passenger seat. When they blinked, he was gone. But moments later, their engines failed, leaving them stranded. This story has haunted the desert for decades. No one knows who he really is or where he came from. Some believe he's a spirit born of the desert itself. Others think he was once a man, twisted into something far beyond human. But everyone agrees on one thing: if you ever drive that lonely road and see his shadow up ahead, don't stop. Because those who do never return. The forest has always drawn people in with its silence. Some came for berries and mushrooms, others to hide from the world. But there are woods so dark that even the bravest hunters refuse to enter. In one such forest, they whisper about a ranger. Not an ordinary caretaker of the woods, but someone who long ago stopped being human. Those who saw him said his eyes were empty, his walk too steady, like he wasn't moving on legs, but on shadow. And whenever someone ventured deep inside, they vanished. No screams, no signs of struggle. Just gone. Once, he had been a simple forest ranger. He walked the trails, checked the campsites, scolded poachers. He lived alone, in a small wooden cabin among the pines. But over time, he withdrew from people. More and more, he disappeared into the woods, rarely seen in town. Then came tragedy. A group of young hikers never returned from their trip. Their backpacks were found, their tents ripped open, flashlights half buried in the soil. After that, the ranger himself disappeared. People began noticing strange things. During the day, you could hear twigs snapping, as if footsteps followed you. Sometimes old axes were found stuck in trees like markers. And at night, a dim light wandered through the trees, an old lantern swaying in the dark. Those who saw it swore the ranger was watching, waiting for them to step off the trail. And once you did, there was no road back. As years passed, more and more people vanished. Hunters stumbled upon pits covered with branches. Foragers found rusted wire traps hidden in the undergrowth. In one pit, they found bones, yellowed, ancient, chewed by time. Investigators tried to make reports, but every file ended with the same line: cause unknown. As if they were too afraid to admit the truth, that someone in those woods was taking lives. One man from a nearby village dared to walk the forest trail at night. They found him 3 days later, shaken, covered in deep scratches. He claimed the ranger came out of the fog to meet him. In his hands was an old axe, rusty but sharp. He didn't speak to me. He whispered to the forest itself. It was like he was asking the woods to keep me. The man ran, but never again set foot in the forest. A group of students once set up motion cameras. At night, the lenses recorded movement. A figure in a long coat, lantern in hand. The face was hidden, but the eyes reflected unnaturally, glowing into the camera. The shadow drew closer, and then the footage cut off. In the morning, the equipment was destroyed, wires ripped, lenses shattered. No footprints nearby, except heavy boot marks leading deeper into the trees. Today, many people avoid the forest completely. But sometimes, stories still appear on forums. We were walking at night and saw the ranger's hut. But it had burned down 20 years ago. I heard footsteps behind me, turned around, and there was the lantern, swaying right over my shoulder. Then everything went black. In the middle of the night, someone touched the zipper of my tent. I didn't open my eyes. In the morning, the tent was covered in filthy handprints. The ranger became more than a man. He is the forest itself, its shadow, its breath. Those who cross his path never return. The woods swallow them, leaving only belongings behind, as if mocking those who search. And if one night you find yourself in that forest, and you see the lantern's glow ahead, don't follow it. Don't speak. Don't hide. Because the ranger has already found you. And his path is a path of no return. The sea has always held power over man. From the shore it seems calm and endless, as if it calls you into its depths. But the moment you step onto a deck and sail into open waters, you realize the sea is not yours. It has never been yours. It is simply waiting. In coastal villages, old men whisper about the sea that never lets go. They say, if you ever hear its voice, you already belong to it. And there is one story, told again and again, about a sailor who never returned. He was known in every coastal village. Brave, fearless, and impossibly lucky, his ship always returned with a rich catch, no matter how dangerous the voyage. Old fishermen would mutter, "He laughs in the face of storms." It seemed as though the sea itself favored him, chose him among thousands of others. But what everyone thought was fortune was only the beginning of a bargain. One voyage changed everything. He sailed out and did not return when expected. For 3 days, a storm raged without end. For 3 nights, thunder tore the skies apart. When the sea finally calmed, his vessel was found wrecked on a desolate shore. The crew had vanished. Only he remained, standing on the deck, soaked, pale, and hollow-eyed. His lips whispered one phrase again and again. They are below now. The sea did not let them go. The waves began to bring strange things. Empty boats, drifting for days. Fishing nets full of catch, but on every fish, strange carvings, symbols sliced into their scales. Barrels that echoed with faint knocking inside, as though someone was trapped within. And once, a pair of sailors' boots, buried deep in the sand, as if pulled from beneath by unseen hands. The villagers whispered, the sea was feeding them warnings. It was showing them what belonged to it now. The waves began to bring strange things. Empty boats, drifting for days. Fishing nets full of catch, but on every fish, strange carvings, symbols sliced into their scales. Barrels that echoed with faint knocking inside, as though someone was trapped within. And once, a pair of sailors' boots, buried deep in the sand, as if pulled from beneath by unseen hands. The villagers whispered, the sea was feeding them warnings. It was showing them what belonged to it now. Sailors swore they heard his voice out at sea. Not shouted commands, not cries for help, just a whisper drifting over the waves. Come down to me. It is quieter here. It is deeper here. You will be mine. And always, after the voice was heard, someone vanished. Sometimes a sailor slipped overboard in the night. Sometimes a man simply never came out of his cabin in the morning. The sea was taking them one by one. Some who escaped never truly returned. They came back pale, hollow-eyed, their voices faint. They no longer laughed, no longer spoke of the sea with pride. Instead they sat silently by the shore, watching the horizon with trembling hands. When asked what they had seen, they whispered only, "It waits. It calls." One old fisherman, half mad, confessed, "I saw his eyes below the surface. He was no longer a man. He smiled. And the sea smiled with him." There are those who swear they've seen him still. In storms, when the waves tower higher than masts, a figure walks across the water. He holds a lantern, its dim light swaying among the waves. Some say the lantern is the last thing you see before the sea swallows you whole. Others believe it's bait, the glow of false hope, drawing sailors closer until they vanish beneath the surface. Stories spread from village to village. Strange accounts appeared on forums, written by modern sailors and night watchmen on ships. "We were crossing the bay at night, and I swear I saw a man standing in the water. He was holding a lantern. Then he was gone. The radio crackled with static, but through it came a whisper, 'You will be mine.' No one else heard it but me. In the fog, we thought we saw the lights of another ship. But as we drew closer, there was nothing. Only waves." The old legends had returned, but now they wore the mask of modern times. Those who dared to dive near the wrecks reported things they never should have seen. Figures standing on the seabed, upright, as if waiting. Faces pale, eyes wide open, hair drifting in the current. One diver claimed he saw the sailor himself, standing among them, his lantern glowing faintly even in the crushing blackness. He didn't move. He didn't swim. He only raised his hand, beckoning. Those who dared to dive near the wrecks reported things they never should have seen. Figures standing on the seabed, upright, as if waiting. Faces pale, eyes wide open, hair drifting in the current. One diver claimed he saw the sailor himself, standing among them, his lantern glowing faintly even in the crushing blackness. He didn't move. He didn't swim. He only raised his hand, beckoning. Sometimes people on the shore speak of strange silhouettes. When the sea is unusually calm, barefoot footprints appear on the sand right at the water's edge. They come from the ocean, walk a few meters inland, and then stop. No person nearby, only the prints, soon erased by the waves. One boy confessed he saw figures moving in the surf. Transparent, like mist, they reached their hands toward him, but as soon as the tide pulled back, they vanished. The elders said, "Those are the ones the sea keeps. They try to return, but the depths won't release them." And at night, if you listen long enough to the crash of waves, you can hear more than water. Between the roar of the surf, there are voices. They call you by name. Sometimes, in the familiar voice of someone who has already disappeared.